Anybody need a mic up or anything like that? All right, Coach, whenever you're ready with an opening statement.
Yeah, this is, people ask me what it's like opening day week. It's, feel like a parent, you're 3 days before Christmas, you're excited to watch the kids, tear open the presents under the tree. That's kind of the same feeling, just the anticipation of something awesome. And we just feel like, our training has been great. The preparation couldn't have gone any better. And we're ready. The hay is in the barn. And it's just time to start playing and really having some fun out on this field.
Coach,
when last you visited with everyone, I think your outfield was still, maybe there were some question marks there. You kind of settled into that and what the lineup's going to look like early on.
Yeah, so there's 8 guys in the outfield that could all start on any given day. We had a couple of nicks and bumps and bruises last week. A collision, a sprained ankle. Will Taylor's still trying to get to 100%. So I think that's the one area of the field where we'll see the most moving pieces, if you will. And not because we're not set on it, but just because we have a lot of very good and capable outfielders that need reps. So some of it will be just guys getting back to 100%, and some of it is just trying to, as we figure out what the best 9 guys are, giving some guys some opportunities. And said this before, we feel like we've got very good depth on this team on the pitching side and on the position player side. Those are good problems to have. So we not only have some older returning players on this team that have credentials either in this program or in college baseball, we've got some young guys that need to get opportunities as well, so they can continue to develop and they can help us win for sure.
Who was involved in the collision?
Oh, that was Nate Hall and Tristan Becerra, but that one did not affect Tristan Becerra. Nate was out a couple days last week, but he's actually fine now. Tyler Corbett sprained his ankle, and Will Taylor's still coming back. But I think I fully anticipate those guys will be able to participate in some capacity this weekend.
Did Will suffer some kind of setback, or is he just sort of?
No, I think this is just the return to play protocol from our medical team. Yeah, it's not an exact science. There's some days are better than others, but when he's been healthy out there and making highlight reel web gym catches, it's been fun to watch. But I think just still building up to that consistency of being able to go 100% each day is not quite there yet, but when he is out there, he's very dynamic and explosive.
What will your rotation look like this weekend?
So all of these roles we're going to actually talk to our team about first. We haven't, my philosophy is we'll get everyone in the classroom. I'll do a PowerPoint and put everyone's role on the board so there's zero ambiguity and everybody knows going into the opening weekend what their role is, and I haven't done that yet. That'll take place either today or tomorrow in our class, probably tomorrow in our classroom setting. So I think just looking at a guy like Ryan Ammons, moving him from the closer role to a starting role, we didn't move him to that role to start on Tuesdays. Like his makeup, his character, his toughness, his work ethic, his leadership, that's the type of guy you want setting the tone every single weekend. So I would expect that you're going to see him on Friday. But we have the pitching staff this year where we don't need our starters to go 7 or 8 innings. We've just got enough depth where we may not need that guy to go through the lineup that 3rd time or the 4th time. And there's just a lot of really good pitchers. Coach Bellinger has just done a phenomenal job of getting all these guys to attack the strike zone. It's like embedded in their daily regimen of the best pitchers and best pitching staffs consistently pound the strike zone. And I've always known that about him, just playing his teams on the other side, but now seeing how he reinforces it on a daily basis, it's really good.
Last season, the weekend starters, there's a lot of fluidity there. Do you expect that to be the case this year, or 2 or 3 guys kind of separated themselves a little bit, aside from Ryan?
Yeah, I'd say there's probably 6, 5, 6, or 7, depending, you know, the guys that we are looking at in that starter role. And, you know, philosophically, again, you know, a guy like Tristan Smith very easily could start from a physical ability standpoint, but philosophically just never really put freshmen into that role opening weekend. You know, we didn't do that with David Price at Vanderbilt, but if you were to say to me, hey, I bet Tristan Smith is going to be a weekend starter by the end of the year, middle of the year, I'd say, yeah, I could see that. But we've got a lot of veteran pitchers that, you know, they've always had the stuff from the neck down. They've had good arms, good fastballs, good breaking balls, and now it's, you know, just harnessing that stuff and being able to command it like they want to. And so they've made a lot of strides in that department. So hopefully we won't have, you know, that fluidity, but it's college baseball and those types of things happen at times. But I've been very impressed with our overall pitching staff.
So you're not naming an opening day starter, but you dropped a pretty big hint that it could be Mr. Andrews.
Yeah.
Okay. When did that conversion to making him a starter begin? In the fall, or once you evaluated things after?
I think we just started discussing it in the summer. Just looking at, you know, Ryan is one of our most talented pitchers, and just wanting to have him impact the game consistently as much as he possibly can. And we all know that a closer is a very important role, but there's times where, you know, you have such a big lead you don't need to get to the closer, or whatever the case may be. So just getting one of our best arms to have that consistency of knowing that, you know, that he's out there week in and week out in the same role, and he's really taken to it. The routine is different for getting ready to pitch. You know, before it's like, hey, go get hot, you're in 5 minutes, you know, and now he's got the full starters routine, but I think his mentality is the same. And the mentality is he's going to go out there and close the first inning, and then he's going to go out and close the second inning, and then the third, and do that as many times as he can. I think that's the right mindset, because that's one of his biggest strengths.
With Caden Grice, local guy, obviously had a standout freshman season. The production was a little bit down last year. What conversations did you have with Caden this offseason, and where do you think his mindset is heading into this year?
I think he's in a great spot right now. Caden, as we all know, he's an incredible physical specimen. If you were going to draw up, you know, a left-handed power hitter, that's the body and the frame and the athleticism you draw up. He can run as well. So I think getting him back over to first base, having a super athlete over there, big target, and keeping him engaged in the defense is going to be helpful for his offense. But offensively, he's really bought in this entire year of just making better plate decisions and understanding that he doesn't have to do too much to really impact the ball. He's one of the few guys in this country that can miss-hit a home run. And so sometimes when guys like that, they try to overswing and overdo it, and things, you know, the consistency and the quality of the contact can go down. But he's really bought into that, of just being super selective, and then he's really bought into the two-strike approach and just putting the barrel on it. Some of the most impressive at-bats I've seen this year in the fall and the preseason have been him with 2 strikes, of just simplifying, putting the bat on the ball. And it's amazing with a guy like that, with those long levers and that body strength. You know, sometimes less is more, and he's impacted the ball really, really hard with that 2-strike approach. So he's been awesome. You know, you always hope that the upperclassmen are receptive to making adjustments and new things, and all of these guys have been. So I'm excited for Caden and the type of season that he's capable of having.
Looking at your ball club last year, it just looks like your batters were pretty patient, and your pitchers weren't afraid to pitch inside. Is that kind of what you like? Is that the optimum style? Of those core principles been preached here in this process leading up?
Sure. Yeah. Offensively, we consider ourselves a super run-scoring unit, not a bunch of independent contractors. And I think a lot of times nowadays, kids go up to the plate not thinking about being connected with the other guys in the lineup, and you've got a job to do until you reach home plate, and more just trying to get their best swing off for Twitter. And that's just a mistake because this is team baseball and we're playing team offense. And so having that dynamic balance of speed and power has been a staple of all of our teams at Michigan. And when we've had that combination, we've scored a lot of runs because we could weaponize the long ball, the stolen base, just putting pressure on teams. I wouldn't say we bunt a lot, but we certainly have it in our arsenal and we can utilize it. And that's just the thing. You just never want to be a one-dimensional offense. You don't want to only be able to score when you hit the 3-run homer. You want to be able to score in a lot of ways because there's going to be plenty of days where the wind's blowing in or you're facing a really tough pitcher or you're playing at a huge ballpark and the home run's not available. And so they've really bought into that idea of thinking more of the offense about scoring runs than about swings.
And then from the pitching standpoint, I think you guys are up there among hitting batters, but that's not always a bad thing.
Well, that was more out of necessity last year. We probably, pointing the thumb, mistakenly put too much of a target on developing the stuff and not really harnessing the command, which is why Coach Bellinger has been such a breath of fresh air, just because he harps on it daily about command and throwing strikes. But it's very easy in today's age to get caught up in technology, and there's some bullpens that I've seen online. It looks like they're launching a rocket, not throwing a bullpen, and so it's just it's some kids get caught up in that, some coaches get caught up in that. I'd say we got caught up in that a little bit too much last year, more on developing the movement of the pitches, whether it was induced vertical break or horizontal break, more so than this is college baseball and command wins. And so we shifted at the end of the year and we're just going to pitch inside and we're going to attack, and more of a mindset thing, and it suited us. It suited the personality of the team.
How familiar were you with Jimmy? When you first got this job, and why did you specifically target him as your pitching
So
coach?
Jimmy tells the story of when he was a 23-year-old recruiting coordinator at Monmouth. He couldn't rent a car yet, and so he would bum rides from other coaches, and so I guess he hit me up and got in the car going to the next event or the next field. I don't remember that, but I got to know Jimmy's work when I left Maryland for Michigan. Coach Sheff and Jimmy Bellinger and Matt Swope, that was the staff that took over. And so seeing how well Jimmy did going to 2 super regionals with that Maryland team and really just taking them to unprecedented heights, and then seeing what he did at Kentucky Super Regional in year 1, and then his teams at Florida State, you have all 3 weekend starters on Team USA. It was always uncomfortable playing his teams. We played at Michigan, we played Maryland, and we played Kentucky, and it just was smothering. It just was always uncomfortable because their staff would just pound the strike zone. And now I've got to see that firsthand this year, and seeing our players be the benefactors of it.
Coach, Riley Bertram has played for you for a long time. Tell us a little bit about him and what he will bring to this team.
Riley's a winner. He's the youngest of 4 brothers. He's tough. He's that how to win awareness gene. He's got it. And whatever he lacks in tools and physicality, he makes up for with tremendous baseball IQ, tremendous baseball savvy and smarts. He's got a knack for performing in the clutch. He's just very mentally tough, very consistent, plays very good defense, and he's a leader. He's a talker. He's vocal out there. He's just a winning player, and he makes winning plays. And so having him come over to Clemson was something that was very important for us, and helping solidify an infield. We didn't know at the time that Ben Blackwell was coming back, but now that Ben is back and we've got an infield like we have with Blake Wright, Ben Blackwell, Riley Bertram, Caden Grice. I mean, I'd put our infield up athletically and from an experience and talent standpoint up with anybody. They've been very dynamic, very good, and Riley's one of those guys that's just out there talking, and it's the little things. It's something as simple as a catcher throw going away, getting into center field, but he's holding the tag on the runner, or